Okay, so now that we understand critical thinking and paraphrasing, and we've practiced these two skills, let's look at the third key communication strategy, which is visualization. Now, remember, visualization means to translate images or to translate information into images in the mind's eye. That means when you hear something or you read something, then in your head you try to create a picture or a video of this information. So let's talk about the why and the how. So why is it important to visualize? Why must we visualize? This might seem like a silly question, but it is an important question. And even though we naturally visualize, so we naturally try to see information, it's something that we can practice and something that we can do much better when we practice, just like running. So, of course, people who practice running and go jogging in the morning, they're much better at running than people who don't. It's the same kind of thing with visualization. Now, the first reason why it's really important to try to see information is so that we can understand information clearly. So we visualize to understand information clearly. Now, you probably realized at this point that for critical thinking, paraphrasing, and visualization, the first reason why we do these skills is because we want to understand information clearly. So it's very obvious that these three techniques or skills are extremely important for successful results on the IELTS exam. Okay, the second reason why we need to visualize information is to try to remember information much longer and more accurately. Many times students read a passage in the IELTS and then they don't remember the information they just read, even if they understand the words. This is because they don't see the information, so the information goes in their eyes and kind of goes out the back of the head. So just like our grandparents who did a lot of visualizing when they read books, so they remember the books they read when they were young children, we need to do the same thing so that we can clearly remember what we're hearing and what we're reading or the information we're using. So we have to visualize to remember information longer and more accurately. Okay, now the third reason why visualization is such an important skill is because when we see information in our heads, it's much easier for us to bring back that information. So when we need to use the information, we can bring it out from our minds and use it for writing or use it for speaking or for answering questions. This is called recall. So think about it this way. Remembering information is like saving information, like saving a file on the computer. And recalling information is like bringing back information or opening a file, for example, on the computer. But here you're doing it, of course, with your brain. So to recall information faster and more accurately. So notice that you're remembering information more accurately and you're recalling information more accurately. That means with more details. So during a test, this is going to help you a lot. Now, just one last point that I'm going to put up here about why practicing visualizing information when you're learning is so important. Humans are visual. We have 5 senses, okay? We have our sense of smell, we have our sense of taste, we have our sense of hearing, we have our sense of touch, and we have our sense of sight. From these five senses, our most powerful sense is arguably our vision. We take in more information with our eyes than anything else. This back part of our head, called the occipital lobe, is used for visual processing. So this means that anyone who is not visualizing information is really not using their most powerful sense and their most powerful processor to figure out and understand information. So remember, visualization is your most powerful tool. It's your most powerful processor. So vision is the most powerful human sense. So use it. All right. So just a quick review of what we said here. We must visualize to understand information, to remember information, to recall information, and because it is the most powerful human sense. So now that we understand why visualization is such an important skill for the IELTS exam and for future study or professional life, let's look at how we can practice visualization with some examples from the IELTS. Okay, so how can we practice visualization? There are lots of ways to practice visualization, and I suggest checking out different ways in the future, just like there's different ways to learn how to run better or run faster. Here I'm going to teach you one very basic method or technique to practice visualization. And for this, we're going to use an example from the AE Help curriculum book. So first, let's go through the steps of visualization and what are the effective ways of visualizing, and then we'll look at the examples. So the question here is, how can we visualize effectively? Okay, and for this, I'm going to show you in 3 steps what you can do to start practicing effective visualization, and you're going to be amazed at how much this will help your learning and your speed of comprehension and giving correct answers. So the first step to visualization is try to see the images and the pictures in your mind very, very clearly, as in real life. So take some time, pay attention, focus, and look and see details in your mind. So always see the image clearly with lots of details, like in real life. So, for example, let's say that you're reading a passage about elephants. Then before you read this passage, when you see the title, so Amazing Elephants or The Memory of Elephants or something like that, stop for a second, close your eyes. Sometimes it's very helpful if you close your eyes for a few seconds and try to see a real elephant, so an African elephant or an Indian elephant, not just some simple cartoon elephant, which is just gray and kind of smooth and without detail, but try to see a real elephant, so an elephant with the big tusks, the nice big trunk with the nostrils on the end, big ears with the veins going through the ears. They have beautiful long eyelashes, maybe the tail with the little tuft at the end, the big toenails that they have on their feet. Maybe their gray, dirty, wrinkly body. So try to see a lot of details here, right? So again, the example here is, for example, see a real elephant. Why? Because this is going to help you to understand the information more clearly. So to understand. Now, once you've done this and you start reading a little bit, or you're listening, it works for listening and reading, then the second step that you want to take is try to make the information unique. A lot of students tell me that they have trouble on the IELTS in the listening and the reading because they find the topics boring or it's not interesting to them. That's not good. You need to feel that the information and the listening and the reading and in all parts of the IELTS is something that's interesting and important for you. Make your brain feel that it's important. This way it will do a much better job, okay? And one way you can do this is to make it different somehow. So try to make the image or the picture unique in some way. This is because our brain really doesn't like to think about everyday kind of things. It doesn't like to remember those kinds of things. But if you make the information different somehow, you basically trick your brain into remembering that information better. So if you're doing a passage about the elephants, or let's say you're listening to a lecture about elephants, then imagine that you have a real elephant. So see the details, see the real elephant, but it's the size of a mouse. So it's very, very small. It's about this big and it's sitting in your hand. Okay, so you have a real elephant that's very, very tiny. It's sitting in your hand. This is making the information unique. So now your brain will try to grab and hold this information much, much more accurately, more stronger, and for longer. So again, the example here is a real elephant the size of a mouse. And here, of course, what you're doing is you're helping your brain to remember the information. Okay, and now the third and final step that we need to do here is include ourselves. So the brain loves to participate. Humans love to participate. If we feel that we are a part of the information, our brain is going to give a lot more effort to try to understand and remember and use this information for the future. So if we're not a part of something, we feel that something is far away, then our brain really tries to ignore or filter or not use that information. And that happens a lot with students during the IELTS. They go into the IELTS, they feel that the test and the information is something that's not interesting for them. It's not connected to their life. It's far away. And so, of course, the scores this way are lower. So again, remember, the brain loves to participate. It loves to be involved in the information. So always include yourself in the images that you visualize. Now, this can be in many ways. So this can be as a human. For example, if I'm listening or reading about elephants or writing about elephants, then I have this picture of this real elephant that's tiny, that's the size of a mouse, and maybe it's sitting in my shirt pocket. So it's in my pocket here, I have it, it's beside me, it's my friend, it's my pet, it's close to me. Or you can do this another way too. You can change what you look like. So maybe if I'm reading about elephants or something, I imagine that I am this tiny little elephant living in Africa or something like that. So you can transform yourself as long as you know that it is you. So if I imagine that I'm this tiny little elephant living in Africa trying to find food, trying to find water, and so on, then my brain is going to grab and hold this information much more. And again, when you practice this will become very quick and easy to do. Okay? So the example here for the third one is a real elephant the size of a mouse in my shirt pocket. All right, and why are we doing that? Because this will help us to recall information. So again, to bring back information. All right, so this is one way of how you can practice your visualization. Number one, make the image clear. Number two, try to make the image different or unique in some way. And number three, include yourself in the image. This way you're going to understand, you're going to remember, and you're going to recall the information. Okay, now that we know how to do this, let's look at an example from AE Help's IELTS test preparation curriculum book. And let's practice some of this visualization with the listening section. Okay, now that we understand how to visualize, let's practice this with the listening section. So, IELTS listening section, visualization. Okay, so a good way to practice visualization for the listening section is to try to picture what's happening before you even listen. So for this example, again, turn to page 90 of the curriculum book. On page 90, you should see section 4 of CD2. It'll be track 4, questions 31 to 40. Now, again, remember, in the IELTS, when you're doing the listening section, you get to see the questions and review the questions before you hear the audio. So this is a great chance to begin visualizing the information. So the first step is make sure to skim, read, and review the listening questions before the audio. Okay, and during this review, visualize the information. So here, let's have a look at the questions and then let's try to visualize this. So the questions say, Which of these events happened 65 million years ago? 1. The dinosaurs became extinct. 2. Tyrannosaurus rex came into existence. 3. Tyrannosaurus rex died out. 4. A large asteroid hit the Earth. So here, I'm trying already to picture these kinds of things. So I'm going back 65 million years in my imagination. No cities, no cars, no streets, just jungles and forests and deserts and animals. And of course, animals that aren't alive today. So very different looking animals. Continuing my reading here, Tyrannosaurus rex lived during which time? Jurassic, late Cretaceous, late Triassic. I'm not sure what those three choices really mean, but I try to imagine the time that Tyrannosaurus rex lived. Tyrannosaurus rex, of course, is that big dinosaur that had the little hands with the big head and the teeth. So I got that in my head. I'm picturing that. How tall was Tyrannosaurus rex? 12 meters, 6 meters, or 7 meters? So here I can see that the topic of this listening will be likely Tyrannosaurus rex now. So I need to start getting this clear picture of this big dinosaur in my head. And I can imagine a 12-meter animal. I just think of a diving board or a tall tree and try to imagine that there's an animal the size of a tall tree. 6 meters or 7 meters, that means if I'm on the second story of my house, I'm looking out my window. If it's a 6 or 7 meter animal, I can see its head outside my window. Okay, question 34. Write no more than 2 words. The theory which explains why fossils are found in very different regions of the world is called. Now, if you don't know some vocabulary here, it could be difficult. If you do, you're okay. The word fossils means bones, bones of the dinosaurs that turned to rock, and we find them in the ground. So kind of picturing these fossils, so these bones in the ground, really big bones, maybe somewhere around my house. Okay, and then questions 35 to 40, this is a table or a chart completion. The first column says evidence, extremely something arms. Implication means what this resulted in. So arms are important for hunting. And then conclusion is something there. So strong sense of smell, able to detect carcasses from long, and scavenger. Large serrated teeth, able to tear through. And then a blank for 39. Teeth, did not have to be careful with teeth. Predator. Okay, so here, again, I have a feeling that the Tyrannosaurus is being described, so I'm trying to picture this in my head. Again, this big lizard-looking animal with a giant head, big teeth. I'm trying to imagine its teeth, its eyes, its nose, because there's something about the smell here. So I'm getting this clear picture in my head. Then the second step for practicing visualization is listen to the audio. So this is where you want to just play the audio, listen to the audio, close your eyes if it helps, and try to imagine that you are in the situation, try to see everything very, very clearly, and try to make it different in some way. So second step, play audio, see clearly, be in the picture, make it unique, and if it helps, close your eyes. Okay, so let's do that now. Let's play the audio for this section 4 of test 2 listening. Again, this is going to be CD2 track 4. So play the audio now and try to imagine that you're there. Here's a hint. Try to imagine that you are a Tyrannosaurus rex. So you are this creature, this big dinosaur that's living long time ago. And imagine what you are like, what life is like for you. So let's listen, let's visualize, let's picture, and let's enjoy.
Now turn to section 4. Take some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listening section 4. You will hear a lecture about the dinosaur Tyrannosaurus rex. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good evening, class. If you are registered for Anthropology 322, you are in the right place. Today we will be talking about the most famous of all dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus rex, or T-Rex as it is commonly referred to. This dinosaur has a fearsome reputation, mainly due to popular culture films and books. In this class we will be discussing the facts regarding the Tyrannosaurus rex, as opposed to its Hollywood depiction. Tyrannosaurus rex lived from approximately 80 to 65 million years ago. Of course, the reason it died out 65 million years ago is the same reason all of the dinosaurs died out at that time: a massive asteroid which hit the Earth and destroyed almost all life. The period in which the Tyrannosaurus rex lived is known as the Late Cretaceous period. This reality is in contrast to fictional portrayals, which often cast the T-Rex as living in the Jurassic period. In fact, T-Rex did not come to be until 65 million years after the end of the Jurassic period. Tyrannosaurus rex was a meat-eater, but it is not entirely clear whether it killed its own prey or if it merely scavenged the prey of other dinosaurs. In our minds, we imagine T-Rex fighting to the death with other dinosaurs, but it is not known for sure whether this is the truth. Tyrannosaurus rex was a large dinosaur. Not nearly the largest, mind you, but still large by any standards of modern-day wildlife. The dinosaur's length was approximately 12 metres, its height could reach 6 metres, and it weighed anywhere between 5 and 7 tonnes. That weight is the equivalent of about 80 average-sized human beings. If humans had been around back then, we would have been the perfect size for an afternoon snack. The location of T-Rex fossils discovered is very interesting. They have been found in western North America, as far south as Texas and as far north as Alberta, and they have also been found in Eastern Asia, mainly in Mongolia. How is this possible? How can fossils be found in such different regions of the world? The answer is what geologists call continental drift. The continents have not always been in the same location. They have shifted, and around the time of T-Rex, western North America and Eastern Asia were connected. This explains perfectly the discovery of the fossils in the different locations. One of the more well-known interesting facts about Tyrannosaurus rex is that it had extremely short arms. They measured only about 1 metre long, which is very short when you consider the size of the dinosaur. To put such small arms in perspective, it would be as if humans had arms that measured only 10 centimetres. What use would they be? Well, that is one of the questions that has led scientists to believe that T-Rex was a scavenger and not a predator. It is very difficult to believe that it could have been an effective predator, with arms being so important for hunting. Another fact that leads scientists to believe T-Rex was a scavenger was its extremely strong sense of smell. This enabled T-Rex to smell carcasses over long distances, giving it a big advantage as a scavenger. On the other side of the argument, T-Rex had very large serrated teeth, which would have been perfect for tearing through the tough skin of other dinosaurs. If T-Rex was a pure scavenger, it may not have required such teeth. Another interesting point about their teeth was that they were replaceable over time. Unlike humans, who grow only 2 sets in a lifetime, T-Rex's teeth could be replaced over and over throughout a lifetime. Again, this is evidence that they were, at least in part, likely predatory.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, now that we have listened and visualized this information, we're ready for step 3. So Step 3 of visualization is simply take a pen and a piece of paper and in about 5 to 10 sentences, write a short summary about what you saw. Now, be careful. This is not a summary about what you heard. This is a summary about what you saw inside of your mind. So it should not be the same as what you were listening to. It will be close, but not the same. This is what you saw, not what you heard. So step 3 is write a 5 to 10 sentence summary about what you saw. Okay, again, not what you heard. So I'm going to show you what I saw when I heard this lecture about Tyrannosaurus Rex. Maybe you saw something a little bit different. If you had trouble seeing the information because you had trouble understanding it, then you can listen again. If you still have difficulty, read the transcripts at the back of the book and then listen again and then write a summary of what you saw. All right, so I'm going to write a short summary of what I saw after I listened to the audio. Okay, so this is my visualization summary. For CD2, track 4. Okay, so when I listened to this track, I imagined that I was a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So I was a large 6 meter tall T-Rex. I have very tiny arms which make me angry because I have trouble catching animals. So sometimes I have to search for dead animals. I see myself snacking on a human because I'm so big. I live in Alberta and other parts of North America, but sometimes I go visit my friends in Mongolia or Asia. Also, I lose a lot of teeth, but that's okay because they grow back. So this is kind of what I saw when I was listening to this. I saw myself as this big animal, and I have some scenes in a lot of Hollywood movies because I'm a very popular kind of dinosaur. I'm about 6 meters tall, which means that I can reach up to the second story of a house, and I can see myself doing this, looking in the window of a house because I'm so big. But I have these tiny little arms, and I can see these tiny little arms which make me very angry because I can't catch things or I can't hold things. My arms are kind of useless for me, and this is very frustrating for me. And then I see myself snacking on a human, so because I'm such a big animal. Remember that the professor says that humans would have been a perfect snack size. And then, of course, the lecture explains where the Tyrannosaurus Rex lived. So in this kind of situation, I picture myself walking around in different parts of Canada, so the Rocky Mountains and Alberta. And sometimes I actually walk across the ocean and visit some of my friends in Mongolia or Asia. But during this time, it was easy for me to go to Asia because the continents were much closer. So I don't have to swim really far or anything because everything is kind of close. It's shaped differently. And then I also have this picture of having all these teeth, and they keep falling out, but I don't worry about it because they're always growing back. It's kind of like as if I have all these baby teeth all the time. So I see all of this inside of my head, and then I get a much more clear picture of this information. So what you want to do is you want to write down this paragraph and make sure that what you saw and what you heard are about the same thing. And if you can do this, you will see that it's much easier to answer the questions in the listening section as you're going along. And your mind can do this while you're listening if you train yourself to do this. So keep practicing this. What you should do after you did this is try to do visual listening for other parts of test 2. So try it for part 1, part 2, part 3. Try it for the other tests. And again, just go through and write down this summary after you finished visualizing the information. So now you have all of the information for the 3 key communication strategies of critical thinking, paraphrasing, and visualization. And you've seen a few examples of how you can practice these skills. We're going to talk about these skills in the future a little bit more in the next lessons with more specific questions. But for now, it's important that you remember and practice these skills regularly before you go and sit the IELTS exam. These skills will greatly help you to improve your score by at least half a point to a point, and you're going to improve very quickly. So make sure to practice critical thinking, paraphrasing, and visualization.